go. They've sold out every game in the last 8 years. LSU out of the SEC, a Sweet 16 team last year. They return a veteran backcourt with Skylar Mays and Javonte Smart.
LSU small, or smaller at least than they were last year. They're going to play 5 guys out. You're going to see a lot of ball screens. And VCU going to trap every single crossing action tonight from LSU.
Trendon Watford, top recruit for LSU. The freshman out of Birmingham gets his first bucket. He seems ready for this moment. Dariante Jenkins is off the mark from deep, and LSU's got Darius Days on the glass. LSU went through the ringer last year. They didn't lose an SEC road game, 9-0. They should be ready for what's awaiting them tonight.
Well, they lost some important pieces from last year, starting with their point guard, Tremont Waters. Neither of these teams start a guy taller than 6'7". There's a lot of versatility, some really good athletes out there on the floor.
Jamie Luckey, Jeffrey Clark, and John Gaffney are officials tonight. After the tie-up, possession goes to VCU. VCU 2-0 in this young season. Here's Evans. Lost it after a well-drawn-up inbounds play. And trying to steal it right back. What's the answer for LSU against the VCU pressure?
You can't get sped up, and you can't go into the danger areas. The corners right over half court. But you just got to take a deep breath. I mean, the press is going to speed you up physically, but it mostly speeds up your mind. You get it over half court, you got to settle in.
And a VCU turnover. Mikael Sims walked with it.
And that's been a problem for VCU in their first 2 games. 36 turnovers in 2 games. So, I mean, look, they're going to turn teams over at a high rate. The problem has been in their first 2 games, they're giving it back.
23% turnover rate this year for VCU defensively. It was a bit higher last year, 27%. And later in the broadcast, we'll talk how this VCU pressure defense has evolved since Shaka's days as the head coach. Trendon Watford, little floater. Freshman's got a pair.
He is so talented. He took a trip to Spain this summer. He led them in scoring. So versatile.
Another VCU turnover. Chance to run for LSU. And it's Skylar Mays who converts, coming off an 18-point performance against Bowling Green.
And I'm surprised Mike Rhodes doesn't call a timeout. I mean, that is some early turnoverage here at the start of this game. And you haven't really been able to set your defense. Just a run out there and a layup.
Isaac Van with the floater. VCU getting nothing in the half court. Here's Javonte Smart for the Tigers. Smart in the paint. And they'll call that an offensive foul on the sophomore from Baton Rouge. Where does VCU want to be offensively in the half court?
Well, they want to drive the basketball. I mean, that's kind of who they were last year, is spacing guys out. They're going to run a lot of ball screens. The problem is they did not shoot it well at all. I mean, there were 17 games last year where they shot less than 30% from 3. One of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country.
Here's Evans from 3.
And that's an area where Mike Rhodes thinks they are much improved. And it starts with that guy right there. Did not shoot it well, but shot it well in his time at Rice.
Played for Mike Rhodes at Rice before Rhodes came back to VCU. He's a former assistant who was on the same staff as Will Wade. LSU getting sped up. And it's rebounded by Marcus Santos Silva. 3 ball. And the loose ball caroms to Skylar Mays. LSU's guards very good on the glass. Mays. And they call a foul on the floor that time. And it'll be the first on Marcus Evans.
The guard play in this game is outstanding. We've talked about Evans, but the other side, you've got Javonte Smart and Skylar Mays. Both of those guys so good in the open floor. They're so good once they can turn the corner, get downhill.
That backcourt for LSU combined for 39 points in their season opener against Bowling Green. One of the favorites in the MAC, and LSU had a 19-0 run late in the first half to take control of that. VCU forces the turnover. Second for LSU. Meanwhile, the Rams have turned it over 3 times of their own. Mike Rhodes, hired as a head coach in March of 17, an assistant here from 2009 to 14. Part of 7 NCAA tournament teams, including the Final Four run. Santos Silva fading away.
That's not a good shot.
Here's Charles Manning for LSU. And the freshman Watford got a step. An aggressive take, and he's rejected. Santos Silva got a piece of it. VCU the other way. Dariante Jenkins couldn't hit. And Mays gets another board. James Bishop on the floor. Forces it up and gets it to go.
The freshman, Will Wade, telling us today he wants to get him on the floor more. Thought his guards, his starting guards, got a little tired against Bowling Green. He really loves Bishop and really his scoring potential.
So able to bring Bishop in and sit Smart for a moment. In the paint is Dariante Jenkins. One of the top recruits in VCU history.
And when you're VCU and you score, you have a chance to set up that full court pressure. And they won't trap a whole lot in the full court. They just want to pick up, get into the basketball, and wear on you as the game moves forward.
3 ball from Darius Days.
He's their best shooter. He is a microwave offensively.
Hit 42% from deep in the SEC last year. Jenkins had that one halfway down. Behind the back goes Skylar Mays. Got Watford on the wing, goes the opposite way, and may have gone to the wrong guy. Too high for James Bishop.
Well, look, taking over for Shaka Smart was not going to be easy for anybody. I mean, he is a legend. Again, I called that game 2 years ago when he came back, and he was treated like a god around here, and understandably so. I mean, he got this program to a Final Four, and he gave them a sense of security. He turned down a lot of jobs while he was here. And so it was not going to be easy for Will Wade. The departure was never going to be easy.
Curry gets fouled on his way in, and Keyshawn Curry will go to the free throw line. Fouled by Andre Hyde. I think the key is, as you mentioned, Shaka had offers that he turned down to stay here after the Final Four. When blue blood like UCLA comes after you, and you say, no thanks, I like what we're building here, that gives those fans a sense of security.
Well, and he gave them an identity.
Yes.
Havoc. He branded VCU, and I think people forget, they went to the Final Four his second year. I mean, he spent another 4 years here, and so it did. It gave him a sense of security, and you know they just didn't get quite that from Will Wade, and he found the job he wanted and moved on.
And these VCU fans were given great content to put back in Will Wade's face with the NCAA investigation and his suspension at the end of last season with the release of transcripts from the FBI wiretaps, and that's why you see the FBI costumes as Vince Williams is able to convert. And VCU's closing in a bucket. Javonte Smart, this is key, picks up his second.
Vince Williams is such a physical specimen. He drew almost 5 fouls per 40 minutes in conference play last year. Was 9th in the Atlantic 10. The sophomore, 6'6", 210 pounds. He missed their first game of the year, was in the concussion protocol. He ran into Marcus Santos Silva, which the concussion protocol is probably the best result of that. If I ran into Santos Silva, you'd have to scrape me off the floor.
Williams had off-season surgery on his shoulder, his right shoulder, second straight season. He suffered a torn labrum and had to return from it. Marshall Graves on the floor for LSU as Will Wade has gone deep into his bench. And this building, as it does, starting to come alive as VCU smells blood in the water. Wofford fouled on his drive in. It'll be on Vince Williams, his first.
VCU was 7th in adjusted defense last year in the country. One of the best defenses in the country. But I think, you know, one of the differences between Shaka Smart's havoc versus what Mike Rhodes has done is they're pressing and they're very good at it, but they have become very solid in the half court. So if you beat their pressure, you still have to execute and not turn it over against their half-court defense.
Williams off the window. And the first bucket for Emmett Williams, one of their leading scorers, and he comes off the bench. I think the key for VCU, as you alluded to, the defensive efficiency, not only a 27% turnover rate. Here's Highland for 3, but also 4.5 blocks a game. Yeah. So the steals plus the blocks, plus what they do from a defensive efficiency perception. And we got a foul on a push-off on Emmett Williams. But Vince Williams went flying down. Will Wade knew what the welcome would be for his team and himself when he came in the building tonight. Asked him pregame, said, what's the loudest crowd, the meanest crowd you've ever been in front of? He said, I think it'll be tonight. Remember, LSU has won 9 consecutive road games, second only to North Carolina in the country.
So all these FBI hats and jackets in the building. I called my attorney to make sure everything was squared away. Called my wife, make sure our taxes are up to date.
Do you still remember the lock to the safe? Sean Highland commits a foul. That's his first. Those guys dressed as FBI agents they are adjacent to the LSU bench. I mean, they were within arm's reach of the end of the bench.
I called West Point, made sure that all my classes were squared away. I called the parking folks in Raleigh, made sure everything was squared away downtown.
I hope you returned your rental car properly. Here's Skylar Mays. VCU got within 1, couldn't close. And now on a breakout, a trip. Darius Days gets whistled for the foul. Vince Williams goes sprawling again. You talk about VCU trying to get better in the half court so far tonight, Chris. Just 1 for 7 from deep.
And some of that shot selection. Look, they're keyed up. This is a big-time game. I mean, both these teams won their respective leagues last year in the regular season. Both these teams expect to get back to the tournament. And as you start talking resumes come March, this is a game that will stand out as a data point.
And in that regard, it's big for both conferences, both the SEC and the A-10. Crowfield for 3. Malik Crowfield's first bucket is a game-tying shot. And we're locked at 13. Mays with the hesitation. Draws another foul.
Malik Crow, the league feels they're going to be better this year. 2 teams in the tournament last year, and that was really only because St. Louis ended up winning the conference tournament. But I think Dayton's going to be better this year. VCU obviously going to be good. Davidson should be good.
And now LSU will show some pressure. Mays got his hand on it. Took it away. And follow is good from Charles Manning Jr.
It always amazes me, a team that presses, and so they press every day in practice. When they see pressure for the first time in a game, they turn it over immediately. How is that possible?
I don't know. It's a great point. Sean Highland, they call him Bones, a freshman from Wilmington, Delaware, is on the board. LSU pushing the other way. And an offensive foul will go against the Tigers. Darius Days commits his second, so Days is smart. A pair of LSU starters, both with 2 fouls here in the first half. Marcus Evans has 1 bucket so far tonight. How do they get him more involved in the half court?
Part of it is rotating him out. You know, Mike Rhodes plays 11 guys. So he's had some looks, hit the 3 early. And I think you'll see him be aggressive here over this next several minutes.
And they got him for a push-off. And now Evans has committed a pair. It's on LSU, excuse me. And so VCU now in the one-on-one. It's on Charles Manning.
You know, that's an early 1-and-1. I mean, that's where you put a team in VCU that struggles to score, particularly in the half court. They're now in the bonus for the next 11 minutes of this half.
Evans is 77% free throw shooter last year for this VCU team that went into the NCAA tournament and took on UCF and Taco Fall. Evans was really banged up in that game. He got hurt in the A-10 tournament, had a bruised knee, and in that game against UCF, he tried to gut it out. 6 points, 6 turnovers, and 1 for 7 from the floor. As VCU went in the postseason, missing its best player from a health perspective. It was a UCF team with Taco Fall now in the Celtics organization. Nearly knocked off Duke in the second round as they got their first ever NCAA tournament win under Johnny Dawkins. Mays and Smart haven't been on the floor at the same time much so far tonight. And a walk from the freshman Watford.
And they're trying to post him. It's not really what he's comfortable doing yet, especially at this level. He just got his feet sped up.
His brother Christian in the building tonight. Played for Tom Crean at Indiana. Alongside Victor Oladipo, that had some talent back then in Bloomington. Nice touch inside. Extra pass. Santos Silva has his first field goal. VCU with the lead. And an LSU turnover. A 6-0 run has given the Rams their first lead of the night.
Tom, against this pressure from VCU, you've got to keep the ball off the sideline.
Back-to-back buckets for Santos Silva. Will Wade uses a timeout.
I mean, he was 6th in the country in offensive rebounding rate. So, I mean, you talk about offensively extending plays. He's the guy. Only 6'7", plays a lot bigger than his height.
He had 21 and 18 in the opener against St. Francis. Timeout taken by LSU right as Mays brought it across. They're all out press, and that's when he wants to go for the catch. How long do you use that name? He goes, well, I'm a big John Wick fan, so I came up with it last year, and I don't really care if people know what we're doing. In fact, part of the intimidation is to know it's coming, you would think. Here's a guy who's a versatile defensive coach. When he was the head coach at Randolph-Macon, they ran the pack line defense. Can't get much different from what he's doing now.
Polar opposites. He's grinding. I mean, look, he was an assistant for a few years at Randolph-Macon. Then he was the head coach there for 10 years. Division III, Randolph-Macon.
Played D3 ball, Lebanon Valley in Pennsylvania. And one coming on the LSU side. And a foul on Dariante Jenkins.
VCU going to trap those ball screens, and then a nice job just kind of shifting to the side. And when you do that as an offensive player, great body control from Skylar Mays. When you do that, you're going to get a block call.
Mays, second team All-SEC last year, first team academic All-American. Started all 35 games for the Sweet 16 squad last season.
What I love about Skylar Mays, he was on that 2-16 team as a freshman at LSU. Last year they won the league, went to the Sweet 16. He's got a serious approach to what he does. What a talented player and a competitor he is.
Jenkins from 12. Well, speaking of Mays and the evolution of this LSU program under Will Wade, you talked about how much they had struggled. The current 9-game road win streak comes on the immediate heels of a 9-game road losing streak. Of the 9 SEC road wins last year, 5 of them came in overtime. Goodness. Emmett Williams extends for the jam. Jenkins on the other side.
I love that dude, Emmett Williams. Absolutely love Emmett Williams. When he would play for anybody in the country. He's a really good athlete, as that dunk would tell you. But he's just an activity guy. He's got a high motor, a really good rebounder. And if you're going down a dark alley, which if you are, it may be time to reevaluate your sense of direction. But if you happen to be down a dark alley, you want Emmett Williams with you, a competitor. And again, any coach in America would take that dude for all the things he does.
Here comes pressure in the backcourt. Graves turns it over. VCU trying to extend the lead. And we got another LSU foul, and VCU going back to the free throw line. Marshall Graves committed the turnover, then he committed his first personal. VCU is going to be in the double bonus here in a minute. Mike Rhodes, A-10 Coach of the Year. 3 seasons a head coach at Rice.
You know, I asked Will Wade today at the shoot-around about losing Tremont Waters, and he downplayed it a little, said it was the right decision. Although Waters is now playing for the Maine Red Claws in the D-League, or G-League. But still, you know, right decision for the kid. I think he's a massive loss for this LSU team, though. And you look at what Tremont Waters did for their offense, generated 20% of their offensive output last year. He was 4th in the nation in steal rate. So he enhanced their defense big time. I think the loss of Waters is huge.
Set a school single season steals record. Near turnover. Manning has it. And he takes it high off the glass. And we got a whistle on the rebound. It'll be on Mikel Sims, I believe. His first.
Now that's where 2 guys from last year's team declared for the draft, Waters and Naz Reid.
Reid wasn't drafted, but he got a contract with Timberwolves.
And he's playing in Des Moines, Idaho right now.
Or Iowa.
Or Iowa.
Yeah. He might need a map.
Is that where Des Moines is?
Between the two. Probably same temperature today.
So he's playing in the G League in a city that I don't even know which state it's in.
Skylar Mays for 3.
I think you get my point, Tom.
Yeah, I understand. I see where you're coming from. Seth Greenberg's back in the studio. He's never looked at a map in his life. Jenkins able to slip it inside, then back out. Isaac Van for 3. Back and forth the fair. VCU goes back up 3. And then a trip on Mikel Sims. And LSU will be shooting free throws on the other side. I hope you didn't have dinner reservations. Free throw time at home against top 25 teams here at the Siegel Center. Trent Watford misses the front end.
LSU playing here because it was written into Will Wade's contract when he was here, like it's been done going back to when Jeff Capel was the head coach here. And they've split every series. Split it against Capel's Oklahoma team, Anthony Grant, Alabama when he left VCU. Shaka won here on his return and then lost last year to VCU. And then LSU now going through their 2-game span.
Great half-court defense by LSU. They got the turnover. Would have forced a shot clock violation almost. Mays just takes it himself. Nice dish. And it's taken away. And then a fall away and a foul. By the way, speaking of that contract clause, Will Wade was letting us know that LSU had the opportunity and they were willing to buy it out at a cost of $250,000. He feels like this is a good game for his team to play, even though he's going to take some arrows in this one, win or lose. Be interesting to see how SEC fans welcome Will Wade and LSU on the road this year. Here's Emmett Williams. 21 points on 10 of 12 shooting. Drew 7 fouls in their win against Bowling Green. And Chris talked about the resume that he came in with. He scored 44 points in the Jordan Brand Classic He broke LeBron's scoring record in that game.
What are you saying?
I'm saying he broke LeBron's scoring record. Anytime you have that next to your name, it's going to get mentioned, and it's pretty good. What a weapon off the bench, huh?
But he's leading them in minutes. Pretty unselfish. Yeah, we asked him away. Is he okay with it? He said, well, he understands that there's only two positions, the bench or on the floor, and he has led them in minutes. So he has certainly made his impact.
Van went down hard, and they're going to get Andre Hyatt for his second. I've seen more guys tripped or seemingly tripped in this first half than in any game I can remember. And as a reminder, part of the new rules in college basketball this season, you can get called for a flop. Not that we've seen it here tonight yet.
There's two things early in the season that get called a lot because they're not called in practice. One of them is traveling. You'll see guys called for traveling all the time in games early because coaches really don't call it in practice. The other thing is fouling. Coaches want their guys in practice to be tough and physical, and so they're not calling every foul. And then you get into a game where, like you said, Tom, there's an emphasis there. And so a lot of these early games end up being high foul.
So it's not just the fact that you're playing in front of a full house for the first time, but there's officials on the floor for the first time for many of these guys. Third game of the season for VCU, second for LSU. A block in the corner, and off of Jamie Luckey to belong to VCU. Vince Williams, the lefty, was able to get in there and block it on the three-point attempt.
They're not a tall team again, but their reaction is so quick.
Pardon me, is Nashawn Highland.
They're so alert. They react to the ball, and what an athletic play that was.
Kick out was too wide.
And then they give it right back.
These two teams have combined for 13 turnovers here early on.
I mean, that play's there. That's just it's not a timing feel play that you have to be able to make.
LSU shooting 50% from the floor. VCU at 48%. Vince Williams with the board and a push. Trying to get it into Corey Douglas. That didn't work. Taken away by Marshall Graves. Who does this pace favor?
I think the slower it becomes, it certainly favors LSU. And that's where, when they've gotten it over and haven't turned it over and have been able to settle themselves, they've been pretty efficient against that VCU half-court defense.
Another turnover. Here's Emmett Williams to give it up. And Smart gives it right back. And then got tripped.
What a steal that was.
Emmett Williams commits his second.
This is just a pickpocket right here. Look at this. Woo, right about around the body and nabs it.
That's what I'll do to you in that dark alley.
I check my wallet all day long, buddy, being around you. But here, again, like, that's a dumb foul. You give up a turnover, you foul them, what would you call it, 45 feet from the basket, Tom?
Yeah.
And now you're giving up 2 free throws.
Marcus Evans to the free throw line. I think what's going to be interesting in the second half of this one, and if you're Will Wade, it might be a message of, guys, we're okay giving up a possession. I'm not okay having you on the bench next to me, because the fouls are starting to pile up for LSU. Evans, a senior from Chesapeake, Virginia. High school ball at Cape Henry, and then Rice. He was playing for Mike Rhodes. Conference USA Freshman of the Year, his first year under Rhodes.
It's a guy who's torn both his Achilles in each leg. It's really the first time in 2 years he's had a full summer where he's been able to feel healthy, work on his game.
Evans will get a breather. VCU can set up the press. How much of the traps in VCU's press are by design and how much are feel?
Yeah, a lot of them are feel. And again, in the full court, they do have where they'll trap on an inbounds pass and you know, more of a full court trapping. But most of the time in the full court, they're just going to pick up, get into the ball handler, and then they're going to hit you over half court. If you're dribbling into those bad corners, they'll hit you. They'll run and jump.
Looks like we have a clock issue. Offensive rebound shot clock will go to 20 seconds this season.
What do you think of the new officials' jerseys there? It's a Raglan style shoulder.
Is that what it is?
It's a Raglan style shoulder. I bet. Yeah, you see, you didn't know that.
It looks very much like a 1940s college football uniform.
Look at how sleek that thing is. Now it's body fitting.
Taken away. Vince Williams slams it home, and VCU has a 5-point lead. Thought you were going to tell me that they were Lululemon. Smart and Mays on the floor at the same time, and LSU turns it over anyway.
See, that's where you're just against the half court. It's almost like two separate possessions.
3-ball good while you're watching a replay. Nashawn Highland threw it in from 23 feet. The lead is 8. The building's loud.
Nice decision.
Highland. And LSU have a chance to push if they want.
Wow, nice jump stop. Under control. That's a guy who on the scouting report it says you could take a charge on him. That's the charge beater right there. What a jump stop that was.
It ends the 7-0 VCU run. Shot clock at single digits. Circus shot goes. Keyshawn Curry. Smart tees it up. Short and wide. Vince Williams commits a personal foul. Charles Manning at the free throw line.
And, you know, Mike Rhodes, again, it's one of the similarities is this defense is relentless. It is nonstop. The pressure wears on you throughout a game. That's the similarities. But the way in which this defense manifests between what Shaka did and what Mike is doing is different. And look, he embraces the Havoc identity, but it's not necessarily what he wants his tenure here to be.
Well, they got away from it a little bit when Will Wade was here in terms of what he was doing defensively. The style didn't fit exactly what Will did. I asked Mike Rhodes, I said, well, you ran a pack line at Randolph-Macon. Why'd you do that? He said, well, I didn't know any better. The coach before me ran it, so that's what I did. 3-ball off the top of the backboard. And a VCU turnover. These two teams have combined now for 18 turnovers in the first half. Mays takes it all the way himself. And Santos Silva finds it. VCU up 6, looking to add to it as the first half nears its end. That'll add. Isaac Van for 3.
That's their 5th three in this first half. A team that shot at 30% from there last year.
Another turnover. Ripped him from behind. Van to the wing. Evans for three. Turnovers for Will Wade's squad. Causation or correlation, VCU started 1 for 7 from deep, 5 for 8 since.
They speed you up physically, but they also speed you up mentally. You get out of character. Look at this pass.
Nice save. Jenkins gives it right back. And Williams hits a triple. An LSU answer from freshman Trenton Watford.
Will Wade telling us today they were going to run a lot of ball screens because they wanted to draw the trap from VCU to get them in chaos, to try to get them spread out, drive and kick, and that's what we saw there.
Lock-ins up with the Rams. And Santos Silva sticks with it. Padded his rebounding stats before he put it in. Shot clock off. Nice finish for Watford inside.
Santos Silva has been a monster in this first half.
He was a leading rebounder in the EYBL. LSU settles into his zone. Clock at 4, now 3, and it's turned over, and a hurried heave gets blocked. You're so weak, right?
Thank you. That's
If you were looking for a football tie-in to this one, LSU, the good news is, as Days splashes down to 3, they've forced 9 turnovers, and Ogeron's team on every Wednesday works on Turnover Wednesday. And look at that, they're the #1 team in the country. VCU at one point led by 15. The difference is VCU has been so much more efficient turning those turnovers into points. They've used those momentum swings with threes on the offensive end, and a fight through the screen will go against LSU.
I just want to go back to your football analogy for a second. I didn't quite.
Turnover Wednesday. So Ed Ogeron's team's focus and practice every Wednesday is to force turnovers and watch film of the opponent's turnovers. I got Ole Miss coming up this weekend.
Couldn't help yourself, could you?
I couldn't. Well, I thought maybe the LSU fans were looking for something positive at this point. Sims answers with a 3 of his own. Senior from right here in Richmond.
I said 8 different guys scored in the first half. That is the 9th VCU player who scored in this game.
Talking to Mike Rhodes about his style of play and the difference between when he was a Division III coach. He said, listen, in this system I can play a lot of guys. You might only play 10 minutes, but you're still going to show up happy at practice the next day. Manning hits a 3, and LSU has come out shooting the lights out. Santos Silva got deep.
They're not guarding him when he catches it out there on an elbow. He gets ahead of steam.
Trenton Watford with the offensive foul. That was a call made in conjunction with the help of the other officials. And now LSU showing a little three-quarter court.
And I like it from Will Wade. You know, put it back on. You press a pressing team. Put it back on VCU. Force them to handle. And now he goes to a 2-3 zone. Changing things up.
Sims has his shot rejected. Good stretch by Darius Days. Evans off the mark. And then Watford turns it over. LSU showed zone on a possession or maybe two in the first half. Why is it a good idea against VCU?
Well, first of all, VCU shot it well in the first half. It can become intoxicating. You can lure a team, especially in a zone, into thinking that that's a good shot. And VCU was executing. You know, I think off of their turnovers, they were coming down. If they didn't have anything to break, their man-to-man stuff, there's a lot of movement. They were forcing LSU to guard in space. And you change up the tempo. You change things up, and I like it coming out of halftime. Now they're back in the man.
Evans, I thought he got a step coming out of that screen. Instead, he draws a foul on Manning, and that is the third for Charles Manning. And a good sign for LSU, not only individually with the fouls piling up, but once again, they're putting VCU on pace to get into the bonus early. Manning replaced by James Bishop.
You know, a lot of this foul trouble is not necessarily LSU not moving their feet or bad defense. It's VCU in attack mode. I mean, all of these guys can put it on the floor.
Good ball fake by Jenkins allowed him to get inside. James Bishop, who just entered, already picks up his first. And Dariante Jenkins from Utahville, South Carolina, by way of Hargrave Military Academy, goes to the free throw line. 2 years ago, a sophomore school record, 79 threes. They've had some great recruits here. Kendrick Warren back in the day, Terry Larrier, 4-star #2 in the state, and the 3rd highest recruit in school history is Jenkins. It's interesting the way Shaka built this program. Yeah, they got some big recruits, but they also had guys grow into their role here. And some of their jerseys hang right behind us. A gamble and a poke, and it ends up under the basket for LSU, and a foul on Santos Silva.
You know, you mentioned that backcourt of Evans, Jenkins, and Isaac Van. I mean, that's as good a defensive perimeter as there is in the country, those 3 guys. And here's the other thing about VCU, and this is when VCU gets really good. They are so old. They start 4 seniors and 1 junior. 2 of those seniors are redshirt seniors.
That'll certainly help them in the league, and it might help them with a key non-conference win tonight as they look to go to 5-2 at home against top 25 opponents. Off balance shot. VCU was favored coming into this game. They were ranked last week, but fell out of the rankings even with a win. Evans wanted the foul, didn't get it. And it'll be LSU basketball. A flop on Evans.
Yeah, I think he's warning him.
So the next time Evans flops, or anyone on the Rams team flops or has a delay of game penalty, it'll be a 1-shot technical foul for LSU. That is applicable to the entire team for the remainder of the 17 minutes of regulation.
Dangerous. I mean, that's just not there. That's too far, too cross court to make against that pressure.
Sims wide open. Silva kept it alive. VCU's missed its last 5. Pardon me, 6. Mays, great body control. He's got a game high 15. Quick 3 in the other way. Santos Silva offensive board. LSU pushes. Bishop off the window. Track meet. VCU on the other side. Got it! Dariante Jenkins. The lead's back to 12.
They convert so quickly. That one off a made basket.
Another LSU turnover. Jenkins got his hands on it. He's firing up the crowd. They'll have a
was a winner in high school, won 3 straight state championships, is the Alabama all-time rebounder in high school basketball history there.
That's pretty good. 1,909 rebounds. 10 and 7 in his debut. College stats this year include plus-minus ratings, which I think is great. He was plus 19, which means the LSU team was 19 points better than the opposition when he was on the floor. That was a game they only won by 9. Highland. And they're going to get Watford for over the back, I believe. It's on Williams instead. Yeah, that's the 3rd on Williams. And already the 5th on LSU. So Andre Hyatt, freshman from the Bronx, will enter. Emmett Williams has been frustrated tonight. Jenkins has impacted this game. A baker's dozen for the senior.
They all can put it on the floor, and they put you on an island with their movement. So tough defensively.
Hyatt was open, couldn't check in, and Mays blindly trying to save it. Putback goes for Darius Days. Jenkins. Shot clock not really an issue for VCU. A half step and a foul, and they'll count it. And Javonte Smart going to the free throw line as Highland gets charged with his 3rd.
This is what he does. He attacks. He is so good off the bounce, either hand. And look at the finish over the top of length off the glass. That's a big-time finish right there.
3-time Louisiana Mr. Basketball out of Scotlandville Magnet. Part of an all Baton Rouge backcourt with Skylar Mays. Miss picked up and put back in by Days. LSU came out at the half, knocked down their first 2 shots. They were both threes. But VCU had answers, and now a 6-0 Tiger run. See if it's enough to get him back in the game. Here's Douglas. Javonte Smart. Tough angle. It'll stay with LSU.
Well, Smart with his head up, looking to attack early, trying to take advantage of the VCU defense in retreat. Because again, we know they press VCU, but that half-court defense has been so good.
Mays got down the lane and put it off the glass. It's an 8-0 run for LSU. And a turnover will give it right back. LSU may not have the crowd on their side tonight, but they can be just as streaky as the home team. It's an 8-0 run, and they got the ball back, down 6. Game of his career. I love it when you talk pace, because you're not talking about throwing maximum velocity if you're a fastball pitcher. It's about changing that pace a little bit.
It is. It is. It's an advanced game. It's a mature game. And in a game like this, the guy who can sort of can't be sped up is going to have success.
Here's Javonte Smart for 3. And LSU's run continues. They've closed to within 3. Curry off balance. And it will be LSU basketball. It's an 11-0 LSU run. We're talking about Mays impact this game. Not only 17 points, but he's also drawn 5 fouls.
Those two guards have been really good for LSU. Turned it over early, but they have been really good at the end of the first half and then to start this second half.
LSU lucky to track down that long rebound. And we got a foul on VCU. In the cylinder, it'll be Marcus Evans' second. What do you think of that shot from Javonte Smart in the half court?
It's quick, but, you know, a guy who just got a bucket and somebody who has one thing on his mind, and that's scoring the basketball, you're going to have to live with some of those shots. And I always say, if you're okay with a guy taking a shot and making it, especially your best player, you have to be okay with him taking it and missing it.
And a missed opportunity for LSU. VCU the other way. Big fella running the floor. Watford inside.
How about that?
And an open floor foul on Evans, and that's his third, and that's a key for VCU. Pardon me, it's on Javonte Smart, excuse me.
An early post, and they tried to bring the double, and how about the shot fake and step through from the freshman? Advanced post play.
6th foul this half on LSU. And they leave Javonte Smart in with 3. Loose ball and taken away by Days. What do you think about playing Javonte Smart with 3?
I'm fine with it. I'd rather do it with a guard. And this is why you know these times of the year, because that's the calculation. We need that, and so I'm going to live with the risk of playing him with 3 fouls. He can really break down a defense, man, especially early. And their defense has stood up, Tom. I mean, LSU's defense over the last minutes here has stood up.
Evans and an offensive board, but yanked down by Andre Hyatt. 15-2 LSU run. Who do they go to in the half court?
Right here, high ball screen. Look at the spacing. Nobody in the lane. All 5 guys beyond the 3-point line.
Freshman Watford has it stripped by Santos Silva. Evans drains it.
I said at the top, it's a guards game. This is a guards game tonight, and we have seen some high-level play from both sides.
Smart challenge, and they get Evans with the foul, and now he picks up his 3rd. Here's Javonte Smart playing with 3.
And they took a very different tack than Memphis has taken.
Yes.
With James Wiseman.
James Wiseman on the floor again for Memphis last night. Up in Portland against Oregon. Even though the NCAA has told Penny Hardaway and the Memphis administration that they are likely playing an ineligible player, they have thumbed their nose at that.
Well, this is instructive. You know, in the tack that Arizona took with Sean Miller and LSU with Will Wade, and now Memphis with James Wiseman is, I think is what ultimately tears at the fabric of the NCAA, if I'm being frank. Because basically all 3 of those places have said, we know you have your rules, we don't like your rules, and so we're not going to follow your rules.
Is it not a membership-driven association?
It is. And when your rules can't be applied, you have chaos. And so to me, when schools begin to say, as you call them member institutions, begin to say your rules don't matter to us, then there's inequity and there's chaos.
Yeah.
And to me, of all these conversations we're having, That's what tears at the fabric of what this whole thing is. If you don't like the rules, change the rules. As long as we have rules, you have to have an arbiter, which is what the NCAA is. You have to have penalties for people who violate rules.
I think the timing is the biggest difference between, say, Arizona and LSU versus Memphis, in that they were so deep in their seasons. What was lost besides taking a chance and playing Javonte Smart, for example, after he had to sit out a game, or playing DeAndre Ayton? Well, Memphis is saying from the get-go, we're going to play our guy even if this costs us. Mays, offensive foul. And Scott Mays commits his first as LSU's trying to look for its lead again.
I'm telling you what, that is a big-time defensive play. I mean, this is hard to do. You're the primary defender. For those who are saying he's moving, you are allowed to move. As long as you're in legal guarding position, you can move left, right. That is a really tough defense play to make.
VCU is looking for its first win all time against the ranked SEC opponent. They are 0-8. Post touch and a skip pass to the second row. Here's your donors, and your second highest donors, and they get touched.
Well, you pay a lot of money to get plays like that. You also pay a lot of money to see the back of Tom Hart's head, which is a little thin last time I saw you, my friend.
Thank you, friend. With friends like these, 3-on-2 for VCU. Williams! Oh, it almost took a victory lap, and he went down awkwardly. Third on Darius Days.
This is that pressure, and they are just reading the eyes of the ball handler to step in front there. That's not a good pass. And again, the conversion from VCU in this game, turning defense into offense. It's a guy at the foul line there, and Vince Williams, who drew almost 5 fouls per 40 minutes last year in Atlantic 10 play. He was 9th in the conference.
So you still have your KenPom subscription, huh?
I do. It makes me sound smarter.
Can I borrow your login?
What do you think?
Williams, 3-time Toledo Player of the Year out of St. John's Jesuit. Speaking of that Ohio State team tonight. Javonte Smart reminding his teammates to block out. So they also leave Darius Days on the floor with 3 personal fouls. Mays with the dish, and Williams with the flush.
That's that play. You're going to see, we have seen so many teams make where you put a guy in that dunker spot right on this, in the short corner. The help comes up, and there's the drop off for the dunk.
Dunker spot for us would involve a trampoline. LSU hasn't led since the 11-minute mark of the first half. Jenkins with the feed. Silva with the finish. The PA announcer here at the Siegel Center is not unlike a hockey PA announcer, in that every time he calls out who made the bucket, he also credits the man who gave the assist. Days whistle for his 4th. He'll sit now.
VCU is so activated on the help side. And it's just deflections, right? I mean, it was, Rick Pitino was famous for tracking deflections. Well, that's why. A, you reward guys for that, but B, another guy's going to get the steal. And so your deflection may not show up in a stat sheet, but you incentivize it by counting them yourself, and then it leads to points on the other end. A guy gets to the foul line.
Vince Williams down double figures. One of the concerns for Will Wade coming into this game was the minutes played by his backcourt of Skylar Mays and Javonte Smart. Now it'll be interesting to see if LSU has enough gas in the tank. Final 8 minutes. They expended a lot of energy to tie it. LSU turnover. Four-point lead for VCU at home against LSU.
Women.
Maybe they should all be sitting together. LSU's making shots, but they're still turning the ball over, and that has allowed VCU to hold a 4-point lead. 3-ball Van. Tigers have made 5 of their last 7, but they also have 5 turnovers in the last 3 minutes.
And VCU's come back down to earth from the 3-point line in this second half.
The ball was tipped, I believe, and still went in. Trenton Watford has 13.
Nice pass.
Douglas trying to finish with 2, and Watford got a piece of it.
And what a challenge. Not scared to get dunked on. Goes up and makes a play, and it alters the shot.
And then Deshaun Highland commits the foul in transition.
So a freshman who may not know better yet, but I mean, how about the challenge? Not afraid to get dunked on. Meets him at the rim. That is a high-level defensive play right there.
That was the 4th on Highland. Trenton Watford, one of the top recruits in the country. Here's Javonte Smart. Got it. And LSU has tied it for the 2nd time this half.
Mays and Smart with their floaters and finishes in the paint. Delicious.
Van got tied up. Santos Silva spins in, slides through. 14 for the big guy. Every time LSU creeps in, VCU has an answer. Leak out and a turnover. Marcus Evans says, my bad.
And it's there. I mean, that's you know, you chalk it up to being early in the year. The timing's not quite there. But that, I mean, I like the play. You just got to complete it.
His 4th turnover, part of 14 for VCU. LSU has turned it over 22 times tonight. Watford going to work. Got from behind. And then a foul in the open floor on Williams. And you're watching this one like a coach. That would drive you crazy if you were LSU.
I mean, Watford got fouled. And then to turn around and call a foul on the other end. There's a reach from behind. I mean, that's a foul. The definition of, and then they give Emmett Williams the foul there. What a big play, and just a missed call. And VCU gets 2 free throws out of it.
So Williams has 4. Yeah, Marcus Evans, a 5th-year senior at the line. Ball don't lie.
You're that guy.
Oh, sure. Williams will take a seat. He's replaced by Days, who also has 4. Evans 77% from the line last year. Makes 1 out of 2.
Does the ball still lie, or is it just a white liar?
It fibs. That might be most costly for LSU when it comes to foul trouble down the stretch. Watford between the legs. Blocked! Corey Douglas with the rejection. Shot clock at 10. Smart gives it up. Watford for 3. Under 5 to go. VCU trying to add to a 3-point advantage. Van took a shot to the head, and they'll get a trip to the free throw line.
We've seen some really good, again, neither of these teams are that tall. We've seen some great blocks in this game tonight. How about that? Primary defender, Corey Douglas, on the denial. And, you know, on that possession, LSU didn't get the shot they wanted. Watford, at this point in the game from 3, contested, not a good shot. And VCU back to the foul line.
VCU 16 of 19 from the line tonight. They've made more free throws than LSU has attempted. Van knocks them both down. Keyshawn Curry back on the floor. A deficit and a delirious crowd stand in LSU's way. And another Rams takeaway. 24th turnover for LSU.
And the pressure there takes the ball out of the guard's hand, the trap, and you get a shot from a guy that you don't want shooting it that early at this point in the game.
4:14 to go. 23rd ranked LSU came in here as an underdog tonight. Will Wade came in facing a lot of attention. His team is right there within striking distance despite turning the ball over 24 times. Foul drawn by Skylar Mays. Malik Crowfield, excuse me. 5-point game.
Hands, and VCU's done a nice job trapping them and taking it out. But we're going to see a heavy dose of Skylar Mays and Javonte Smart down the stretch here.
Mays steps into a 3, and Smart finds the rebound. And now he's trapped on the baseline. And he'll call it a jump ball, and it will go the opposite way.
You know, if you're a guard and you get an offensive rebound there in traffic, if you don't have anything right away, it's best to pull it out. And he makes a good play here, and he's thinking about it. It just isn't there. By that point, you're amongst the trees.
Five-point game with 3.5 to play. Wow. Marcos Santos Silva has been sensational tonight. Mays spins, hangs, hits. Big bucket for the senior.
You know, it's their second game of the year, but it's the first time we have seen LSU down the stretch of a close game without Tremont Waters. He was their guy last year. Skylar Mays with a wonderful finish there.
Crowfield wide left.
I mean, the body control, always on balance. Look at that, the in out, the spin, the finish into the body. Big time from Skylar Mays.
Mays will fire. Rough off the back rim. Marcus Santos Silva has his second double-double of the season. He had 21 and 18 against St. Francis. And now he's done it against a ranked LSU team.
He's going to have a lot of those.
Darius Days is fouled out. Be replaced with Emmett Williams, who has 4 of his own.
And the free throw differential in this game is going to end up telling a story.
Everything related to the turnovers. 34 points off turnovers, most in a game for VCU in 6 years.
But, I mean, VCU was in the double bonus.
Yeah.
You know, about 8 minutes in the first half. They were in the bonus about 10 minutes in this half.
Isn't it all related to the pressure? Now Jamie Luckey has it go off of him. It will stay with LSU. The pressure, the tempo, the turnovers.
And VCU, all 5 of those guys can put it on the floor. And it's hard to help because of their movement. So you're on an island. And they're always in attack mode.
Time's running out on LSU. Down a touchdown with 2 minutes to go. Smart got a foul on the floor from Evans.
It's one of the reasons that VCU also has 14 offensive rebounds in this game. They spread you out, and so guys from the perimeter get a run. So outside of Santos Silva being an absolute beast, their guards have gotten on the glass as well.
Javonte Smart at the free throw line. Big one. Smart knocks them both down. He's got 20. Pardon me, he's got 13. Or 15. How about that? My counting's off. VCU the other way. And Mays saves it. Smart almost gave it up. Manning into the front court.
Ooh.
And they'll count it. Charles Manning Jr. 3-point play for Manning.
And here's the 1-3-1.
LSU gambled. Couldn't get it. Santos Silva inside. And he has a rejected an LSU opportunity. And a finish by Skylar Mays. LSU's tied it with Mays. And they turn him over again.
I have no idea why Mike Rhodes didn't call a timeout there. He's got 2 timeouts against UConn and then here tonight.
Been a while since LSU has led. Corner. Mays passes up the 3, and VCU takes it away again. Profield shares, and a foul at the rim will be on Javonte Smart. That's his 4th. 2 shots coming for VCU.
And their defense comes up big. When they need a stop, it comes up. And there's the off-ball play. We've talked about deflections. The deflection leads them the other way. And I like the foul by Javonte Smart. Make Isaac Van earn it from the foul line.
Van perfect at the stripe tonight, 4 for 4. Van goes 1 of 2. VCU shows pressure. Into the point guard's hands. They fake the trap. And LSU is set up in the half court. Mays with a crossover. Mean move, and he went to the left to draw the foul.
What'd you call it, a mean move?
That was mean.
My word. The change of hands. Oh my goodness, the deception with a little shimmy to his left, through the legs in the other direction.
Mays, 3 of 3 from the line. LSU's been money from the line. And a chance to give the Tigers their first lead since the 11-minute mark of the first half. And he does just that. 40 seconds to play.
Back in the 1-3-1.
Who does VCU want to go to?
Well, looks like here, I mean, they're going to go to their ball screen stub. That's not the shot you want.
And it's a foul on the 3 in a got one more coming. Money. VCU back up by 1. Shot clock off.
Will Wade has a timeout.
Coaches can call timeouts with the ball in play this season.
He's going to play it out.
With Mays off the mark. Gets his miss back. No whistle. Loose ball. Possession arrow belongs to LSU with 10 seconds left.
Possession to LSU.
Letting him play a little bit down the stretch.
Letting him play. And Will Wade letting his team play.
He's got a timeout if he wants to use it. Taking advantage of the time to dry the floor. Who do you go to on the baseline out of bounds?
Well, first of all, the inbounder is a critical spot, and then this has to be for Skylar Mays. I mean, he's got to take this shot.
Mays, Smart, Wofford, all key weapons for LSU.
Smart and Mays on the same side of the floor on that strong ball side.
And Will Wade got a look at how VCU lined up. He'll use the time.
Gets involved. You could still switch that one.
Mays will drive with 7. Pull up. Too strong. VCU has it and a foul. It was Marcus. Number 1 Kentucky with a buzzer-beating 3. And the door is open for LSU.
No timeouts for LSU, so they're going to have to collect and push, and it's going to be in probably Skylar Mays' hands.
1 out of 2. 5 seconds remain. Here's Skylar Mays. Past midcourt. Through the would-be trap. Lost it. And with 2/10 of a second left, this one's over. Mays had to swerve through 3 different rams, and he lost the ball on the way. And VCU takes down Will Wade.